Wherever Sikhs go around the world and settle down, one of the first things they do is get together and create a place of worship, a Gurdwara. Here in Gravesend, Sikhs started arriving in the 60s. And so in that time, firstly they used to worship in somebody's house. Then they bought a property in Clarence Place. That used to be a church once upon a time, and then it had been a booker's warehouse. And then the Sikh community bought it and created a Gurdwara there. Towards the end of the 1990s, the community recognised that we were growing out of Clarence Place. So work started on planning for this new Gurdwara. And it is one of the sort of landmark buildings in the area. And it's a testament to the local community that how we've been able to create such a facility. The whole site here is 8.5 acres. So as well as the main Gurdwara building, we've got here the sports centre, we've got the day centre for the elderly. The Guru Nanak Football Club is also based here, and they have several teams in all age groups, and including teams in the local leagues who do very well every year. So this is their main home ground.
Girls, let's pick the sides, let's go, come on Obi.
The club started in 1965, 7 gentlemen playing football sat down at the park opposite the Esso station on Old Road West, under a tree, you wouldn't believe it, and they came up with the name Guru Nanak Football Club. There was a couple of other names, but they thought, no, we'll name it after the local Gurdwara. It's a community club. We give everybody an opportunity, doesn't matter what your background is, and that's why I think that it's such a success. Our logo is, there's only one religion, football. So there are no kind of religious background, because we have kids that sometimes 50% of the kids is Muslims in the team, and the other are Sikhs. We've had teams such as that, and we've had teams where it's the other way around. We've had 90% which are white, and you've got the odd Indian kid, but they're still under Guru Nanak. So all of that, it's a melting pot of different nationalities, and that helps to break down a lot of barriers. Parents on the sidelines watching their son play, who never probably talked to the Indian person unless they go to a corner shop or they bump into an Indian restaurant. Now suddenly they've got parents and their sons are playing football and their daughters are playing football, so it breaks down a lot of barriers.
I arrived in England in 1965. Couldn't speak any English at all. I worked in various different places, in the building sites and in the cable factories. And eventually ended up joining social services. I did a survey to find out what were the needs for the Sikh community at that particular time. And out of the survey, actually, the biggest thing that actually was needed was a daycare centre for the elderly people. Myself and Keith, we had a meeting with the Gurdwara and then also with the social services. They had a small house in the Grove, and that's where the whole day centre is actually started right from scratch. One of the famous person actually to come to the day centre was Mr. Pooji. I remember, he moved to Northfleet and our paths crossed, and he came to us and then he explained, that he lived away from the community. He wished to be within the community.
After leaving India, we came to England as refugees. We had a really tough start, but after a life of mixed fortunes, I enjoy living in Gravesend and going to the day centre. Mahendra Singh Pooji, who actually used to come to this day centre, was an all-action superhero. He was a war hero as a Hurricane pilot and did amazing things during the Second World War in protecting Britain. But also after the war, he was a celebrated gold medalist sportsman, motor racing champion, hotel manager. In his later years, he settled in a sheltered housing scheme for Sikhs here in Gravesend. He died in 2010. And I worked with the Borough Council to get a statue put to his memory next to the River Thames, which he very much loved when he was here.
I've loved music, and in 1970, with Dr. Sarjit Singh Randhawa, started the Jugnu Bhangra group, and I used to play that all. I remember in those days, I had an afro, as soon as I walked in to the practice, and everybody thought, I wasn't an Indian, from some other community. As soon as I had the doll in my neck, and I just made a couple of sounds, and it was pin drop silent, and they thought, gosh, someone who's not Indian, how can he play the doll?
We got our own studios, We got about 100 people at the moment, and which include the girls as well. And we also train the people in our studio, and we also train the dolls as well, and singing, dancing, whatever they would like to know about the Bhangra.
The day centres have been running for 25 years now. The need for such services are greater today than they've ever been. The whole purpose for day centre services is to support people to live independently in their homes and to promote well-being. Coming to the day centre, it's an environment where they feel comfortable. It's a home-from-home experience. Not everybody can cope with the level of frailty, so that's where we come in. We've got bilingual staff trained, and so we can look after them, give them a bit of sense of quality of life more so. And I think they're happy here. I've seen it firsthand. It makes a world of difference to them.
If we look at the Sikh community within Gravesham, I think they've made huge contributions to life within our borough. Sikhs have contributed immensely to business. Amrita, I think you would have seen the number of pharmacists, the number of high level of home ownership. Within the rented sector in particular, the Sikhs have a huge contribution within that as well. And I do sincerely hope that in the coming years, as the Sikh community itself flourishes, that they will continue that integrative aspect and continue to bring in the other communities so that we have a very harmonious and cohesive community here in Gravesham.